So kind of our plan from last week, Tuesday, we screened the entire building. We have more than 500 students. Any student that was positive for nits or lice was sent home or parent contacted, and they were in the auditorium until a parent could come get them. They were provided with the lice fact sheet, again, lice treatment kits, education from our nursing staff on, the best way to get rid of the head lice. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday, any student that was positive on Tuesday was immediately, we kind of filtered them to the auditorium and re-screened again. If they were still positive, we repeated that same process with informing parents. As you know, we were closed Thursday and Friday. Our custodial team and Airmark has been busy vacuuming carpets, shampooing, sanitizing, done a really great job of making sure all of the buildings, including our Head Start wing here, has been thoroughly cleaned, so that we're confident that there are no head lice kind of living at Foose. We'll follow the same process Monday morning with re-screening that we did on Wednesday. Students that were positive at any time in the last week or so will be screened. We know that we need several negative screenings in a row to ensure that they have eradicated the head lice themselves. So we'll follow that process Monday, Tuesday. We'll game plan from there. But we have nursing staff from the PA Department of Health that are going to come and help us in the morning, Monday and Tuesday. And then that's kind of where we're at.
I will say that the efforts here at Foose School and by the district have certainly been well executed, well thought out, and definitely with our students and our parents and our staff in mind. I have had great conversation with other community partners. Obviously, UPMC Pinnacle has provided us with upwards of 1,000 lice kits now to provide to students and families in need. Also, I received a call from Chief Etterline, and while this is not in his wheelhouse, all of you may know he's the fire chief for the city of Harrisburg. One of the ideas that he brought to the table is how can we partner with the Harrisburg Housing Authority to maybe open up the laundromat here in South Harrisburg so that families don't have to incur the cost of laundering all those items. If you have 3, 4, 5 children and you have to launder all of their bedding and clothing, that cost could be pretty high for a family that's already struggling. So we're in the process of reaching out to the Harrisburg Housing Authority and possibly another laundromat at 19th and Paxton, I believe, to see if the owner-operator of that location would be willing to extend an opportunity for parents to come in and do their laundry at no cost. So these things take time to build these kind of partnerships and collaboration to provide this free of charge, but those are some of the innovative things and conversations that the district is engaged in to continue to resolve and eradicate the issue of head lice here at Foose School.
How concerned are you about this possibly spreading to other schools, since I imagine some of the students here probably have siblings that are older or younger somewhere else?
We are very concerned because we all know that this is not just one student. This is a family issue. So all those persons cohabiting in that house could potentially be affected or impacted by head lice. So it is a huge concern because many of our students here at Foose have siblings at other schools. So while we have not had pervasive incidences at other schools, it's definitely a concern.
What are you doing to potentially ward that off?
We have been, every time we have a student that is positive, whoever comes to pick them up, the nurse will screen the other siblings in the house if they come, like younger siblings if they come with a parent. She has screened parents if they're willing, and we provide treatment kits to every member of that household. So we have parents leaving here with 7, 8, 9 lice treatment kits so that they can kind of help treat everyone in the house, because we know if just our student is treated, it'll only be a matter of time before they a reinfestation could occur.
And I think it's important to note that anytime there's an issue of head lice in a household, whether it's one child or a child and a mother, that's something that often occurs. in a household, and particularly when parents are interacting with their children. So more than likely, it's not just the child in that household. There are many members of that family that have been affected by this, hence the reason that we've given multiple lice treatment kits to various families.
So do you know how many students have been infected with this?
Right now, we know it's approximately, it's definitely more than 100.
More than 100?
Yes.
And how confident are you that this will be eradicated by Monday and school will be able to resume?
I will say that we are confident that the plan that we have in place is working. I don't know that it will be eradicated totally by Monday. As Principal Wirtz has shared, there's often a process here. You know, sometimes we've had kids, they've gone home, parents have done the treatment, but then they recontract it again. So it's going to be a process, but I can assure you that we are well on our way to resolving and eradicating this issue. And I cannot stress enough how important it is for parents, family members, the community at large to be engaged and be informed on this matter. Because it's not just an issue that impacts Foose School. It impacts families, households, and communities. So it's important that everybody kind of have all hands on deck to make sure that our babies are able to come back to school on Monday and get back to learning.
So at this point, you're not 100% confident the school will be able to open on Monday?
School will be open
Yes,
on Monday.
we will be open on
Yeah.
Monday. Now, the children that we've identified that have had the issue, all of those students will be re-screened, rechecked on Monday and Tuesday morning. But definitely on Monday. That's why we're going to bring in the additional support from the Pennsylvania Department of Health, who have been very generous in providing us with 2 nurses to help us do the screenings. And anyone that has done screening for lice, the process can be very long and tedious, particularly with little girls and or little boys who have long hair. You really have to take your time and go through that process. So the additional help and support from the Pennsylvania Department of Health is greatly appreciated.
And I would also like to add that during one of our parent educational sessions yesterday morning, we had the owner of Lice Lifters came out and did a piece for our parents, and it was unbelievably educational for all the parents and individuals that were here, and we thank her for donating her time too, because it was a great session. We plan on doing another one of those sessions today at 4 o'clock, so we do appreciate that also.
Have you had any instructors or administrators come down with this as well?
We have had approximately 5 staff.
Okay.
And those staff have been referred to our workers' comp provider so that the district can ensure that they are being provided with the highest and the utmost level of care to address the issue for them. So this doesn't become an issue for them and their families as well.
Has the district ever dealt with an issue like this before?
I don't know that we've ever dealt with something this pervasive before. But certainly this kind of issue is common in school districts and daycares, nursing homes. Anytime you have people cohabiting in an environment where lice can be potentially transmitted. So it's not uncommon, but we've not dealt with anything as pervasive as the situation here at Foose Elementary School.
How do you prevent something like this moving forward? Or can you?
I mean, and
I
we
don't-
can all chime in
Yeah,
here.
I don't think we can prevent it. I think parent education and having the level of education about head lice be more widespread across the community is really going to be key. We've done a lot with our staff and, paying attention to the signs. If a kid's really scratching, we want to make sure we get them to the nurse quickly.
Yes.
And I know that, we discussed with our staff today, we're going to be vigilant about looking at those signs a little bit closer. But I really think that parent education is the key right now.
Yeah.
We got really great tips. I'm hopeful that we have a good turnout here this evening. One of the things that, we've been reading a lot about lice in the past couple of weeks, but, things that we learned yesterday were, adolescents and kids taking selfies and they put their heads together is a huge way that it's transmitted. And thinking about our students that have siblings at the middle and high school, that's a huge risk for them. So having the students be aware of that and their parents to try to curb that a little bit so that the spread is less.
Can you just, would you be able to just send out a message? What is the message to parents And when we talk about preventing this, you know, so that it doesn't happen again, and you guys kind of made it clear that it's coming from the homes. So it's I guess it's really important for parents out there, whether they've been to the workshops or not, or you know, or have this problem or not, to probably get a clear message from the district so that this doesn't happen again.
The district has been adamant in sending very clear, consistent messages in English and in Spanish so that we can reach parents across the board. We've sent home parent letters, English and Spanish, official fact sheets from the Pennsylvania Department of Health in English and in Spanish, school messenger notification calls, which are also known as robocalls, in English and in Spanish. We've also provided on-site, face-to-face conversation and information, even one-on-one with parents. So I believe the district is doing and will continue to do everything in its power to address this issue and make sure parents are informed. I would go as far as to say that parents are the strongest link as far as preventing lice and addressing the issue. There's only so much that a school district can do. At some point, our parents have to be informed. They have to be engaged. They have to be implementing and doing the lice treatment kits with fidelity. And if they need additional information, if they need assistance, we have a school nurse here who's awesome, Mrs. Brown. She's been on this issue for at least 3.5 weeks now, so she's very familiar with the children and the families that are most impacted. If they need additional information or resources or assistance, we stand ready to continue to support our parents, to walk with them through this process, because at the end of the day, we stand ready to educate our children.
Is there something that, like, just out there, like, what can parents do though, like, right now, like, what can they do in their
Come
homes?
at 4 o'clock. So, because I find that many parents are not properly educated. They might have heard myths or information. We've even had parents dye their children's hair thinking that the dye, the color, would kill the lice. So we need parents to come and get factual information from medical providers, from lice lifters, who they are the experts in this. They do this every day. So we need them to come to the free education parent session that we're offering. And you know what? Knowledge is power. And that's what parents can do. They can come and get the
Can they
information.
check, like, I mean, I know to come to the workshop, but can they check their kids before they go out to from the house?
So-
Like, is there something that, for our cameras?
Sure, lice
That we can
lifters,
say.
when we were at this session yesterday, they recommended during this outbreak that parents check their children's head twice a week. And then after this outbreak is over, once a week. They said that girls with long hair, just looking at the scalp is not enough. They need to separate the hair into
Sections.
and do a combing check twice a week while this is occurring. And the other big piece of advice, like Ms. Keys said, was to follow the directions of the lice treatment kit all the way. Doing the one treatment isn't frequently enough. You have to do it, and then 4 days later or 6 days later, you do it again, and making sure that they're not just doing the shampoo and leaving it on. Then they go through the process of combing nits from the scalp all the way down. And she did say when you're combing, going one direction isn't good enough. You have to comb the hair north, south, east, and west. And that will get all of the nits. But that was a pretty big takeaway of prevention.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, but it's cool. You gave good sound too. I'm
Well,
like writing it all
Yeah.
down. So it's
But the
like-
main thing is for them to come and get the information, because if you don't know what to do, you're going to follow those old wives' tales that you can go and get a Miss Clairol color kit and think you can correct this, and that is not true.
Kirsten, you also may want to mention our partnership with UPMC.
Oh, yes.
Schwartz and Tudor, and all this information is available on the Facebook page, both in the short.
Mr.
and
Oliver, why
long
don't you come
form.
up here and
No,
sit
no,
next to
no,
me?
no.
So Mr. Oliver is correct. The school district has, in addition to all those other forms of communication that we've talked about, UPMC Pinnacle has been a great partner. They provided a pediatric medical expert, Dr. Schwartz and Truber, who, even though she couldn't be here in person, she made herself available where we were able to go out and videotape her presentation. And that presentation will be part of the parent session this evening. So that partnership has been priceless.
And that'll be available, the short
It's
version is
available
on
online.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's available on the Harrisburg School District Facebook page,
YouTube.
YouTube. So let's say I'm a parent and I'm working and I can't come to the 4 o'clock session. Well, you can go right to our Facebook page and get that information so that you are prepared and empowered to be able to address this issue in your household.
Do you have any cases identified in other schools in the district that you believe are kind of vectors of this?
I'm not sure if they are vectors of this, but we have had some siblings. So yeah, we've had,
Okay.
and that's the one school that we just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, we have students that are siblings in many of the schools, you know, the surrounding elementary schools as well as the middle schools. So when we have identified a case, we ask the kid, do you have any other sisters and brothers? We find out where they are. We're calling the nursing staff at those schools so they can check them right away. If they are, you know, if they have an infestation too, then they go home with a treatment kit as well. So do we know that it's at this level? No. But our students aren't just at Foose, so.
Yeah, it goes back to that family connection. So one of the additional layers that we're going to add on to our communications is that the information, it will not just be posted on our Facebook page, but we're going to be able to send more communication district-wide. Because right now we know it's pervasive here at Foose. So we really haven't focused as much on our other schools because we haven't had any reports until, yesterday?
Yesterday.
So now that we have those additional reports, we're just going to begin to make that communication district-wide. We don't want to alarm anyone, but we want parents and students and staff to have the information.
What was the other school that you had the other case in?
At this point, I don't know that, I don't want to go on the record with that because that might not be the only school. You know, so if I say that one and then they pop up somewhere else, you know, so let us continue to get a handle on this, and then by Monday, if we need to provide another media update, we can do that because again, these children and families, siblings are related, so it's not just one school.
How much is the response, like what's the cost for all of this?
I will tell you this, when you talk about the cost, I'm not sure what those lice treatment kits cost per unit, but if families had to invest in that on their own to purchase 7, 8, 10 lice treatment kits, not just one time, but multiple times, that cost would be off the scale for many of our families. One of the things that I am recommending that the school district do immediately is that we have to begin to invest in our own lice treatment kits. It's been awesome that UPMC Pinnacle has been supportive in donating them, but at some point, if this is an ongoing issue or it's going to pop up in other schools, we also need to be armed and prepared to have those lice treatment kits available for our students and families.
But I'm talking about the thorough cleaning of this school and things like that.
Oh, that kind of cost.
Yeah.
I don't have a dollar, but you know, it definitely has been a cost in staff time and resources. It's been a lot of late nights, a lot of ongoing conversation, late night, very early morning. So I guess you can measure costs in many ways, but I think the greatest cost is to our students and families.
I agree. I know you want to hear about our plan with lice, and Mr. Hicks and I and Ms. Keys, we're certainly not experts in head lice and lice removal, and we're getting an education right along with the community in this, but we're really anxious to get back to some kind of normal. We've been out of normal for a few weeks now. Screening the entire student body and screening classrooms at a time really disrupts our schedule and disrupts the learning here, and we're just ready to get back to growing brains. That's what we do. That's what we're about. And we're anxious for Monday. You know, we are hoping to streamline the process in the morning. You know, we're ready for a welcome back. Let's start fresh and get back to what we do.